So for my fifth Gamedev update, for the last couple weeks, I've been working on just a couple of different things. The main one is that I have implemented a new weapon system. So Quake's original weapon system, which my code for this game is a mod for, is a flag-based weapon system. And what that means is normally in Quake, when you walk over a weapon, it adds that item flag to your inventory and then it gives you access to that item. What I'm doing here is these entities, these weapon entities, are persistent. So you saw I picked up this weapon called a battle rifle, and there's still a persistent entity where I picked it up, and I can pick up another gun. And it's a two-weapon system like games like Call of Duty, like Halo, Battlefield, a lot of others. And if I go to Edict 1, so that's the player, you can see here I have Weapon 1 and Weapon 2. That's Edict 118, 119, the battle rifle, and the plasma rifle. And so when I'm holding these weapons, whatever I do with these weapons, let's say I'm using the battle rifle because that one has limited ammo. I haven't implemented limited ammo on this plasma rifle. It's adapted from the Enforcer's gun. But if I drop this and then I pick it back up again, you can see, it's kind of hard to see right now, but you can see that the ammo stayed the same. So I was able to drop this weapon and now it's here on the ground. And it's still that Edict 118. It's still the same persistent entity. And that works with all the guns in the game, the vanilla ones and the ones that I've made myself, the originals. And then the second parts to this weapon system is, of course, being able to pick up ammo from weapons on the ground, like you would expect to be able to in a game like Halo. In the future, what I'm going to have to do is the original purpose of this weapon system was that I could have enemies in the game holding these weapons, and then you would fight them, you'd see that they're holding these weapons, you would kill them, and they would drop them. I don't have that fully implemented yet because I'm having some trouble with the enemies, and that's related to the other part of the project I've been working on. The enemies are, for the most part, working as expected. They will run towards their destinations. However, ever since my third update, they have been having trouble with particularly their infighting demonstration. So this demonstration down here, where they would trigger the targets, this guy will get killed, and then these guys are mad at me. Those guys don't know what to do. That guy in the corner, he doesn't know what to do either. I don't know. I'm using the find function to find whoever just killed this dude. And it is finding one of these guys. They just aren't reacting to it. It should be finding all three. And then they should all start fighting like I was able to demonstrate the second time I tried in the third update, but it just isn't working. I'm not sure why. So that's my larger project moving forward. But I just wanted to show a bit of the code associated with this weapon system. I have updated from using my own fork of Iron Whale 0.7 to using just ordinary Iron Whale release 0.8. I'm really just sticking with this engine because of its debug tools. You saw me showing bounding boxes there. So the weapons are, it's a pretty simple, or the system is basically lifted from the enemies or from the monsters. So there's a spawn function, this weapon plasma rifle function, and it's got some information associated with this class, but the ones I want to draw attention to are the self.wp underscore switch and the self.wp underscore attack. Particularly at the attack, this is a lot like the monster th underscore run or th underscore missile function pointers or variables. Essentially, this plasma fire contains essentially the function, the void plasma fire function, and so whenever I want to attack using the plasma rifle, I don't have to say, well, I have what weapon do I have, and then, well, if it's the plasma rifle, then I need to use the plasma fire attack. Instead, I can just say, I've clicked the attack button, now I active weapon dot wp underscore attack, which redirects to plasma fire. And so this plasma fire, it's partially based on the nail gun attack and partially based on enforcer fire. So it just makes vectors from your current view angle, calls launch laser 2, which is a copy of launch laser, but it's particularly for the player to use. If I can quick find that. There it is. Nothing groundbreaking here in this code. And then I have my weapon interactions. This is essentially, it's just a basic touch function. It waits for the impulse, and there's the 2 weapon slots, so it has to decide, are any of them free, so that you just fill that slot, or if none of them are free, then it just chooses the active slot, so it determines which one is active. Puts a weapon in there using the get weapon and the scavenge weapon. And then obviously I was able to drop the weapon, so that uses the drop weapon function. And I was able to scavenge weapons. There's also a give weapon function. I haven't tested that yet, but essentially that works along with the get weapon function, just to give weapons to the player without them having to pick something up off the ground. So that's sort of to update the state of where the project is right now. So the last thing that I want to show right now is the player's attack and switch weapons functions. So the attack function is pretty basic. It just makes the vectors from the self angle and calls that self.wp attack, which is set in the switch weapons function. So in switch weapons, what it essentially does is it takes that player's weapon field and puts in the weapons flag like it would in the base Quake code base. But what it's also doing is setting the player's associated attack fields, and essentially what that does is it takes that attack that was set in the weapons start function, and it then swaps out what function is associated with the player when the player clicks attack. So if normally the laser gun has that function associated, that plasma fire function, now the player has the attack function, plasma fire. And then it also allows for the player to switch to, say, a third weapon, like a melee weapon, in this case, the axe. If I were to press the 3 button on my keyboard, that just brings up the axe, and it never has to check to see, does the player actually have access to the axe, because that's not a persistent weapon. That's just a flag for the self.weapon field with an associated model and attack. So that's all set in the switch axe function.